Hello, good day. So welcome back to the video presentation for lesson 1.2. So now we are in factoring binomials of the form a raised to n plus or minus b raised to n, where n is odd. Okay, so let a raised to n plus or minus b raised to n, so it depends, it's either it's plus or it's either minus, where n is odd. So when you say odd, so bungkig. So say for example, our n is, let's say, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so on. So odd. Okay. So if n is odd, if odd integer, the one factor of a raised to n plus or minus b raised to n is either a plus b or a minus b respectively. So if this one is our expression, then this is our first factor, and then if this one is our expression, then this one is our second factor, and the other factors, another factor is in descending powers of the first term and ascending powers of the second term. So this is just similar with factoring x cubed plus y cubed class. So diba ang factors ay niya kay x plus y, so just the base, diba? And then you have your x squared minus xy plus y squared. So as you can see, the exponent of our x in the second factor, it's in decreasing order, and for y, it's in increasing order. So as you can see, 2, exponent 2, 1, 0 si x. So y, 0 si y for the first term here, and then 1, and then 2. Okay. So if the binomial factor is addition plus ang operation, the signs in the polynomial factor are alternate. So, for example here, diba, our sign here is positive, so the sign for the polynomial factor, the other factor, it should be alternate. So, you have your plus, minus, plus. So, if the binomial factor is minus, all the signs in the polynomial factor are positive. So, remember that when you have your x cubed minus y cubed, ang factors ano niya kay x minus y. So, since minus man na siya, so we have your x squared plus xy plus y squared. So, all signs here are positive. Okay. So, again, the difference, the cube of the sum or difference of two cubes under ni siya of this factoring. So, a raised to n plus or minus b raised to n, where n is odd. Take note that 3 is odd. So, let's say, for example, okay, so you have your a raised to 5 plus b raised to 5. So, just make sure that we have your same exponent, ha? We have your 5 and 5. And we have your odd. So, our factors, our binomial factor is just the base. So, you have your a plus b. And the polynomial factor is, ingon siya that the exponent of a should be in decreasing order, and the exponent of b should be in increasing order. So, kani siya descending, this one is ascending. So, starting with 5 minus with your n here minus 1. So if your n is 5, then we will start with our exponent here with 4. So you have your a raised to 4, and then a raised to 3, and then a raised to 2, and then a raised to 1, and then no a. And then our b, so no b, b raised to 0, b raised to 1, b raised to 2, b raised to 3, b raised to 4. So again, the exponent of the first term here should be in descending order of power. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then the exponent of b should be in ascending order. So you have your b raised to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And since our sign here is positive, then the sign of our terms for the second factor must be alternate. So you have your plus, minus, plus, minus, plus. Okay. I hope you've understand, no? So next, let's have your a raised to 7 minus 1 to 8. So what we're going to do is we must express this as a raised to 7 minus something raised to 7. Okay. So, can we express 128 as something raised to 7? Yes. So 128 is 2 raised to 7, and ang a raised to 7 is just simply a raised to 7. So what will be our factors? So it's just the base, ang base lang since we have your odd exponent. So you have your a minus 2, and the polynomial factors, okay, again, the first term must be in as a descending order of exponent, meaning decreasing ang exponent, and then for the second factor, its exponent um, must be ascending, meaning increasing. So you have your a raised to 6, our 2 here, exponent to 2 is 0 and it's just equal to 1. So a raised to 6, tapos 2, here we can write this one ha, kay basin mag-wonder. Okay, so we have here a raised to 6 plus a raised to 5, or that one, times 2 raised to 1 plus a raised to 4, and then 2 raised to 2 plus a raised to 3, and then 2 raised to 3, and then plus a raised to 2, and then 2 raised to 4, plus a, and then 2 raised to 5. Okay, plus a is exponent of a is 1, so next exponent is 0, or simply you may not write anything here. And then you have your 2 raised to 6. So simplifying, you have your a raised to 6 is 1. 2 raised to 1 is 2. So 2 raised to 1, 2 times a raised to 5, it's just simply 2 a raised to 5. And then 2 squared is 4. So 4 times this, you have your 4a raised to 4. And then this one, this is 8. So 8a raised to 3, you have this. And then 2 raised to 4, it's 16. So 16a raised to 2. And then 2 raised to 5 is 32. So you have your 32a. And then last, 2 raised to 6 is 64. So ano lang. And then, take note that our sign here is negative. So, meaning, the signs of our enclosed terms here will be all positive. So, you have your plus, 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 plus. Again, if your sign here is positive, the sign to the enclosed terms of the other factor, it should be alternate. So, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus. Okay, so I hope it's clear. Okay, so now let's have your general suggestions for factoring. This will be the last topic for lesson 1.2, no? So usually one may find it comparatively easy to factor a list of exercises which are all of one type or form. So for example, this one. So this one is just very easy because we know that these two examples are under this factoring. So in factoring this, so you're just going to follow the steps. Or this one, when you're going to factor this, it's very easy because we know that these 5 examples here are just an example of factoring sum or difference of 2 cubes. So if they are written in sets such that in each set you have only one type of factoring to perform, so it's easy. But if a list of exercises involving all the types studied are present, so it will be if a list of exercises involving all the types studied presents more difficulty. Okay, so if for example our exercises are in it is not categorized as factoring sum of difference of 2 cubes, factoring difference of 2 squares, factoring GQT, factoring PST. It's not categorized that way, so it is hard for us to determine which factoring we're going to apply. Okay, so hence we have your following suggestions in factoring varied list of exercises that is proved to be helpful. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look for a common monomial factor other than 1, of course. So this is the first factor that we've discussed. So find a common factor, and then if we have a common factor, extract out that common factor, and then what's left is another polynomial factor in which we're going to factor again if it's still factorable. Next, second suggestion is study the polynomial factor after the monomial factors are removed. So after removing or after extracting out the monomial factor, so what's left is a polynomial factor. So we will study that polynomial factor on to what technique we're going to apply. Okay, determine which type of factoring it should be classed or it should be categorized, and then use the methods of factoring applicable to that type. Okay, next, continue step 2 until all the factors obtained are prime factors. So when you say prime factors class, we can no longer factor. For example, 4 is not a prime factor because we can still factor 4 as 2 times 2. So 2 and 2 here are prime factors because we can no longer factor 2. Okay, another example. The prime factor of 6 are 3 and 2 because we can no longer factor 3 and 2. So, muna gitawag og prime factors. Okay, so for example, no, so factor this one completely. So 6a cubed b plus 3a squared b squared minus 18ab cubed. So, we don't know on to what category is this one or what class is this one. Is this PST, GQT? So what we're going to do first is we're going to check if we have a common monomial factor in each term. So as we can see, we have common factor because diba 6 is 3 times 2 and then 18 is 6 times 3, meaning common si 3. 3 is common for the numerical coefficient, and as to the literal coefficient, we have here AB, common sa AB. So what should we do? What variable or what is the exponent of the variable that we're going to remove? So we know that AB is common. AB, AB, AB. So what will be the exponent of A and what will be the exponent of B? So what we're going to do is we will take the least exponent of A and B. So the exponent of B here is 1 and then exponent of A here is 1. So the least exponent for A and B is 1. So meaning our common factor is 3AB. So we will extract out, we will remove that common factor. So I hope that you can still remember sa ato first video, no? For lesson 1.2. So extract out 3AB. Okay, so we have this. And then what's left is how we're going to get the enclosed terms here. So it's just 6A cubed B over the common factor 3AB. So cancel, what's left is 2, cancel, what's left is a squared, and then cancel, so it's only 2a squared. So you have your 2a squared, and then do the same for the next terms. So 3a squared b squared divided by 3ab, it's equal to ab. And then negative 18ab cubed divided by 3ab, it's equal to negative 6b squared. So next, we factored out our first expression by common monomial factoring. Now, study the polynomial factor. Can we still factor out this? So, if we can factor out this one, if we're going to factor out this one, we have to think, no, what factoring should we classify this? Take note that we have here 3 terms. Kung 3 terms ni siya, so it's either a GQT and PST. Diba? If you can still remember, for trinomial, we have general quadratic trinomial and perfect square trinomial. So for perfect square trinomial, if we can identify that our expression is a perfect square trinomial, so meaning to say, what we're going to do is just get the square root of the first term and the last term, and then voila, we can have now our factors. But if it is not a PST, if it is GQT, meaning general quadratic trinomial, then we should have the trial and error method or the TAE method in factoring that one. Okay, so now let's check. Is this a PST? So obviously, class, 2a squared is not a perfect square. This one is, okay, not a perfect square. So it's not a perfect square. So meaning to say, the first condition is not satisfied. So meaning this one is not a PST. So this is just a GQT. So when it is a GQT, then we will apply the trial and error method. So how to factor that one? Diba? If you can still remember, take the factors of the first term and the last term and then try combinations. So factors of 2a squared are, you have here 2a times a. Again, diba, as discussed in the previous video, if that term or if it is the first term of your trinomial, so no need to have the negative factor. So okay na si 2a times a, no need na to have the negative 2a and negative a. And now for negative 6b squared, our factors here are negative 3b times 2b, we have negative 2b times 3b, we have negative 6b times b, and then negative b times 6b. And then among these four factors, we're going to check if what is the right combination that will give us the correct factor. So we will try 2a and let's say this one. So the factors of the first term will be the first term of our factors, so 2a and then we will try negative 3b and 2b. Okay, yeah, mo naman siya, no? Negative 3b. So in here, class, it's just a coincidence that our first factor here is negative 3b and 2b. So, but if you've tried negative 2b and 3b, for sure you will not have the correct combination because the right combination is this one. Okay, so ito pag-check, how to check if it's the right combination. So you're just going to get the sum of the product of the inner terms and the outer terms. So negative 3b times a, it's negative 3ab, and then 2a times 2b, you have your 2ab, and then adding, you should have the middle term. So negative 3ab plus 2ab, it's negative ab. Is this our, sorry, this one is 4ab. Okay, negative 3ab plus 4ab, it's positive ab. So is this our middle term? So yes, our middle term is ab. So meaning to say that this one is the correct combination. Okay, so since, okay, we will check, I'll just erase this one. Oops. Okay, so since we have here our factors, no? So we will study or we will determine if it is indeed non-factorable or it's already our prime factors. 3ab, we can no longer factor this. 2a minus 3b, we can no longer factor. Also, a plus 2b, we can no longer factor. So meaning this will be our final answer. Okay. Okay, so let's have here another example. For x cubed minus 12x squared minus x plus 3. So we have here 4 terms. So usually, class, when you have more than 3 terms, what you're going to do is by grouping, because as what we've discussed before, in our discussions, in our previous videos, we don't have more than 3 terms na cases, diba? Or na class. So we only have binomial and we only have trinomial. So if we have 4 terms, so for sure you will apply factoring by grouping. Okay. So for factoring by grouping, you're going to think, diba? You're going to think those terms that have common factors, and then afterwards we're going to factor out that common, and then we're going to factor again. So here we've grouped 4x cubed and 12x squared, and you have your negative x plus 3. So as to the first group, so it's fine, no? Because we have your positive sign as our preceding sign. So no need to change the signs of the enclosed terms. Now, for the second grouping, we've started with negative signs. So since negative sign siya, the enclosed terms should be of opposite signs to the original. So from negative x, it should be positive x, and from positive 3, it should be negative 3. Okay, that's our grouping. Okay, so maybe you've wondered, Mom, we don't have common factor for x minus 3. So it's fine because as we factored out the common factor here for the first grouping, which is 4x squared, the remaining factor or the remaining terms inside is x minus 3. So take note that it's the same with our x minus 3 here, this one. So this time, this now will become our common factor again. So removing this common factor, so you have your x minus 3. So what's left is 4x squared minus 1. Okay, so now the question is this now our final answer? So this is not yet our final answer because we can still factor out the second factor. 4x squared minus 1 can still be factored out. So this is difference of two squares because we can write this one as quantity squared minus quantity squared. 4x squared is 2x quantity squared and 1 is just 1 squared. So this one is difference of two squares. So that's why I told you class that after factoring, we should study our factors if it is still factorable or not. If it is factorable, we have to think in which class or category should it fall. So in this case, 4x squared minus 1 is a difference of two squares. So therefore, we will apply the method in factoring difference of two squares. So you have here, copy lang no si x minus 3. You have your x minus 3. And then difference of two squares. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to factor? So just get the base and then alternate ang sign. So you have 2x and 1, 2x and 1, and then plus, minus and plus. Or pwede po ni siya, pwede rin plus and minus. So studying our factors, so as you can see, we can no longer factor x minus 3, we can no longer factor 2x minus 1, and we can no longer factor 2x plus 1. So hence, this one is our final answer. Okay, so now let's have this next example. Okay, so our example 2, we have 4 terms. Now for our example 3, we have here 5 terms. So again, if our number of terms is more than 3 terms, so possibly, or we will apply factoring by grouping. So in factoring by grouping, you have to think first, okay, it's not all the time that common factor is being applied after grouping, no? Okay, there are cases that we're going to group, and then for every group or for each group, different factoring technique will be employed. So for instance, no, for number 3, so we have your 5 terms. So it means that if we have 5 terms, possibly that we have one group with 3 terms, and we have another group with 2 terms. So we will study. So as you can see, obviously, this one is a GQT because 3 terms, and then this is not a perfect square. So it's not a PST. So we can conclude that this one is a GQT. And then we're going to group this with common factor 2. Okay, so what makes me think that this 3 will be in one group and this and remaining 2 will be in another group? It's because of a squared, b squared, and then combination of ab. So take note that in our GQT, so the middle term is the combination of the first term and the last term. So that's why I can simply say that yes, I can group this 3 and then the remaining group is this 2. Okay, so here I have, okay, here I have here groupings a squared plus ab minus 2b squared, and then, oops, I think there's something wrong with this one. Okay, what happened? What's wrong with our given? Nga naman ni siya. So, plus. So this is, in our given, it should be positive. This one should be positive. So you have your plus 2a minus 2b. So it doesn't matter, class, because our sign here is positive. So our enclosed term should be the same signs with the original terms. So okay, so what happens sa next step is we just factored out 2. So factoring out 2, so you have here 2 times a minus b. And then for this one, we're going to factor out by GQT, general quadratic trinomial. So factors of a squared are a times a, and then factors of negative 2b squared, it's negative 2b times b, negative b times b times positive 2b. Okay, so trying combinations. So we have the combinations a plus 2b and a minus b. So again for GQT, we have to follow the trial and error method. Okay, so now, so next is, we have this as our next expression, no? After factoring this GQT and then monomial factor of this one. So now, we will not stop here. Your final answer, class, when you are asked to factor out, your final answer must be quantity times quantity. It should be product. Kay factors gani, class, operation should be product. So we will not stop here because we have your operation na plus. It should be that the operation should be all multiplication. So as you can see, for the first term, this one, our common factor, we have a factor a minus b. And for the second term, we also have a factor which is a minus b. So meaning we have a common factor which is a minus b. So extracting out this a minus b, what's left is, for the first term, when you're going to extract out or remove a minus b, so what's left is a plus 2b. And then removing the second, the common factor a minus b is the second term, what's left is positive 2. So this will be our final answer, or we can also have this. Okay, so I hope that it's clear. So again, if you have clarification, so take down, take note of that, and then you can post it in our FB group, or you can simply message me, or you can ask that one during our online meeting. So ask na lang during online meeting or FB group. Okay, so that's all for lesson 1.2. I hope you've learned something. So that's all, class. God bless and happy learning. So keep safe, everybody.